Hi everyone, good day. Welcome to our Season 3 Masterclass series. I'm Santosh Mahiban, Product Specialist from Manage Engine ServiceDesk Plus. Hope you're all doing good and hope you're all staying safe in this current pandemic situation. We just have to stay strong, stay together, and we will win the situation. So, with no further delay, I'm just going to get into our presentation. And in today's masterclass series, I'm going to talk about how to manage a major incident with Service Desk Plus. So I'm going to share use cases, I'm going to share situations, and I'm also going to tell you how we actually handle major incidents at Zoho as well. Now, before we proceed any further, can I just get a confirmation about the video and audio quality from the attendees? So, if you could just share an yes or your feedback on the chat section, that will be really helpful for me. Before we get started, here are a couple of housekeeping items that I want you all to be aware about. So, all your attendees' lines are muted by default. And this is a very important thing. Please do post your questions at any time during the session. So there's a question answer section right on the panel on the left hand side. Go ahead, share your questions. Do keep also post your questions on the chat section. So there are folks who are there who's going to help you out. And we are going to send a recording of this masterclass session along with the question answers that you guys are asking so that you could have it for your reference. For any further feedback, you have my email address and there is a hello at servicedeskplus.com. Please write to us for any questions, feedback, assistance, or demo. We'll be happy to help you. And also, don't forget to check out the handout section right there. We have a document which talks about all the features that we are going to show you and at what exact situation you could use those features. So go ahead, download that. It's all for you guys. All right. And this is a rough agenda of what we are going to do. I'm going to explain and talk about what a major incident is, understand how Zilker, an organization, handles major incident. We're going to show you a framework, and we are also going to use that framework because it's something that we use at Zoho, and align that with Service Desk can help you understand how we do it. We're going to see what a major incident is. Anything that disrupts the smooth functioning of the organization. So it's not going to be an individual person or it's not going to be within a team, but it's going to impact the entire organization. Now, when it impacts the entire organization, so the rest all falls in place. There are going to be several users and departments that are going to be affected. It's going to prevent them from performing their day-to-day tasks. So there would be crucial businesses and there would be like minor functions. Everything will come to a standstill. So arguably, a major incident is that one that requires a response that necessitates a faster, great response far greater than a routine incident management process. So you're going to put hands down on every other activities that you're going to do, and you're going to firefight this particular issue and fix that. So that's what we consider as a major incident. Now, here is Zilker, all right? So, what does Zilker primarily does? Zilker is a web performance monitoring and security company where it provides protection for from CDN, DNS, DDoS to websites that face major outages. So this is what Zilker primarily does. And guess what has happened? So Zilker faced a FIO2 bad gateway issue in their organization. So that came as a surprise for everyone. And when you start getting issues like this, you have no idea where it's coming from. Is it an application that's causing this problem or if it's a server? So you have no idea where it's coming from. So what actually went wrong? Now, Zilker normally does a standard process where the company's firewall team constantly deploys new rules. So in their web application firewall, they keep updating it with new rules just to make sure that they are ready to fight any new vulnerabilities and threats. That's exactly how organizations work. You keep your systems, your applications up to date just to make sure you're ready to handle any outages or any major challenges that comes your way. Well, that's exactly what Zilka did. And guess what? There was this one person who decided to go make some minor tweaks, and that exactly resulted in a huge spike in one of their servers. Now, it's not just any regular server, it's a server that actually holds HTTP to HTTPS redirection traffic services. So obviously, the change the person did kept spiking, and that led to the CPU sprout of 100% maximum. So when this happens, that arguably brings all other services down. Now, we are going to align and understand how did Zilker even start responding to this particular outage and where exactly they went wrong. Now, it started in the afternoon at 13:42 p.m., where they experienced an outage. Now, it's good that they had monitoring tools in place. It's not they didn't have something, they did have, but as you could see, there is a delay on when the monitoring tool alert starts coming in. And there are also tools that provides performance analysis on websites. They also shared feedback, but it's not on sync. Now, from the time the incident happened and 8 minutes later, it still looks bad. And the site reliability engineer team starts to look into this issue only after there's a 80% outage, 80% slowness. Now, when this keeps happening, it took around like 13 minutes for the team to decide and discuss on if it is a major incident, which is a bad start again. And this Zilk organization is worldwide, and their London engineering team is now being alerted that something happened. So after 13 minutes, they get an update. And guess what? In all of this situation, there's volley of tickets coming in. The phones are ringing off the hooks, and not just that, you are responsible for your team and your for organization. So the incident response team is being pressurized by the organization. That's exactly what happens. Now, Zilker had things in place, but it did not fall right into the bucket where it's supposed to go. So with all these delays happening, they haven't even got into figuring out what it is. So it took a huge amount of time for them to rule out that this issue is not an attack, it is something else that they need to focus. So 53 minutes is where they figured out it's not an attack. And finally, it took 78 minutes for them to figure out someone did a wrong configuration on their web application firewall service and they had to kill it. So 78 minutes and you have tons of services being down, and that's exactly what has happened at Zilker. Now, you may argue that they had all the tools in place. There's this monitoring tools, there's this application monitoring tools that that send out alerts, but what else could be wrong? Well, here we go. Here is a framework that we primarily use at Zoho when we wanted to handle major incidents, all right? So this is exactly a set of a process that we follow in order to make sure we start firefighting exactly at the right time, make sure we keep everything on track. Now, you use a lot of these monitoring tools to get the alerts exactly the same time. The server has performance monitoring, send it right into a help desk system. And at the same time, if there is an application that monitors websites and if it tracks their performance, send alerts right then and there, right into the help desk system. So you detect, and once you start detecting it, the incidents are being reported at one particular place. Now, once you get the incidents being reported, you need to do two things parallelly. One is about communication. You need to set the communication to the respective folks, the respective teams. And while you're doing that, you're also going to triage this particular incident where you're going to bring in the right set of groups to start working on it. Your operations team, your site reliability engineers, your incident response team, all these engineers should be brought into a particular group so that they are all there at standby and they are updated. Now, when the communication is happening, the next is about assess, where you need to understand the impact of the issue. You need to prioritize, classify. So right from the time the ticket is being created, you are having a pattern where You are first keeping your stakeholders informed, then you're assessing the ticket. You're making your communication to the external world just to make sure the other teams and the users are aware that Zilker is aware about an outage. We are currently working on it, so wait until further notification. Don't create tickets because you don't want them to keep calling you. You don't want multiple tickets to be created. And we have those awesome folks who don't just send out an email. They call, they chat, they text, they do whatever they want to get attention. So we need to make sure the user community is also aware. And then once you are all in place, you need to um, make sure that you are delegating this activity to the right teams. Now, you want the right set of engineers to start working on them. Again, this is where you bring your triaged groups in place. Now, once you get the resolution, you use all possible mediums to get the resolution, you resolve and close the ticket. And if I'm going to align the same framework right with within ServiceDesk Plus, these are the features that I'm going to use: the monitoring solutions, the tools that I'm going to use for communication, the features I'm going to use for accessing the ticket, the communication after the request has been accessed. What are the tools that we're going to use? The other features that helps to delegate work, bring about like more granular clarity on how what are the tools that we could use for root cause analysis, and how exactly we could resolve the ticket so that you have not only just found the resolution of it, but also the continuity plan, the documentation plan, which is crucial for continuous service planning. So these are all things that is required. And we're going to go into the product to understand how this framework and this set of features can be aligned with Service Desk Plus. So we are going to go into the product, and I'm going to have this framework because we are going to come back and forth to discuss on that. Hope you're all ready to get into the product. Now, what you're looking at right now is a requester's login, and I've logged in as John. All right. As you could see over here, there are different mediums in which a ticket can be created. All right. Now, John can either chat with the team and or with the technicians and say, "Hey, guys, there is a performance issue where I cannot access the application. I get a 502 bad gateway error. Are you guys aware about it?" So you can chat, or you can send an email, you can call the hotline, or you can also go ahead and create a ticket using a list of templates. So John is just saying that service outage, and he's creating a ticket. Now, here is a classic situation where a couple of our customers also want this to happen. They don't want users to just chat or create an email or just fill out a form for an outage or something. They feel that it's really important. So you can also create a ticket using the form, but here I wanted to emphasize about how to prevent important tickets from being missed out. So you can have the technicians or the users call in a hotline when critical applications are down, so that way the technicians can start working right away. So this is a feature which you could configure in business rule, and we're going to come to that very soon, but I just wanted to show you guys how this works. Now, let's just go ahead with the flow and have John create a ticket. All right. So here is a template John is using. There are a lot of fields. Impact, he's filling out the impact, urgency. Then there are like other fields over here. John is creating a ticket. The ticket is created. All right. John gets to see a couple of details. Now, these are all the different ways the end user can create a ticket, and not just from here as a web app or an email. We also have a mobile app through which a user can create a ticket. Now, John has done his part. He has reported the ticket. Now, when I log in as a technician, and over here I'm logged in as Paul. Paul logs in and he goes right into the request tab, and there's tons of tickets. Like there's literally a huge amount of tickets that's pouring in. Now, Paul goes ahead, picks up a ticket that was created by John. When he looks into the ticket, he gets more details into the ticket on what this issue is, the classification of the ticket. Now, we saw John filled in impact and urgency. As you could see, there is a priority that is set on the ticket. And with the priority, not just the, it stopped right there. It also set out the right SLAs. There are escalations in place. It is assigned to the SRE team, which is Reliability Engineering team. There is also an SLA kind of thing that we could see over here, which is called OLA. We are going to look into that too. Now, through different mediums, the incident identification is done. Now, what we saw is a human intervention. Someone just logged in and created a ticket. But what are the other ways? If you guys have tools such as Op Manager or like tools that used to monitor website applications, if you have those tools, uh, and if they are managed engine tools, you can integrate right within ServiceDesk Plus. You can integrate those tools under admin integrations with ServiceDesk Plus. You have third party monitoring tools, just let us know. We'll be happy to help you with those integrations. So, what happens is that right when the outage is detected, when there is a threshold and when the system goes above that threshold, it's going to start creating alerts. The tickets are going to come right into Service Desk Plus. So this way, it is also another medium where you could report those tickets in. Now, incident identification and detection is the primary thing where we have figured out what are the ways the tickets could be created. Now, we need something else to process these tickets, all right? So that is where we are going to look into the incident templates. So I'm going to show you how the template looks like. So this is a template that we have used. So I'm just going to edit this template just for us to understand how it looks like. So you could add images so that it gives more visibility for the users at their self-service portal. You can group fields at how it requires using the grouping feature. Then you can also sort the fields just again for the end user to get more clarity on the fields. You can choose who are the set of audience that needs to have this template. Now, outages could be on any services, so we cannot restrict it for certain teams, then publish it for everyone. If you wanted to have only a set of technicians or set of users to have access to this template, go ahead and do that. Now, we have seen how we could create templates under the admin section, and these are the templates that's used by John to create a ticket, and that template is what is rendering in Paul's login when he is trying to work on this particular ticket. So the fields, the classifications that the admin has configured, that is listed right on the ticket as well. Now, these are all different ways where we could customize a form for the end user's benefit. Now, what's next? What has happened? After the incident has been identified, we need to do the communication part. So the identification and detection has been done. We are now going to talk about communication with the stakeholder, how it is done. So let's get back into our ticket. Now, John needs to know there is a ticket being created, that his ticket was registered. So since he's done it through the self-service portal, it is fine. What about if he sent an email? What if he called the helpline as how I shown before? Now, in that particular case, we have a couple of things in place. System has automatic notifications that you could trigger, which is under admin notification rules. Now, over here, there's a whole bunch of notifications. Utilize them to send out notifications right at the start of the request creation. Now, not just that, if you want customized notifications, so this is a feature that most of our customers have asked. We need to send out customized notifications to different set of users and entities when certain critical tickets are created. So this is a feature called custom triggers. Under admin, you have custom triggers. This feature by itself performs a lot of script-based automations. I'm not going to talk about that because that's not relevant right now, but I'm going to show you how to handle outages. So I have created trigger, very simple. I've given a name. I've given a couple of conditions. If some alerting monitoring tools or users are creating tickets based on these content, what you do is send out a notification. And I've created an email notification template by choosing a couple of variables. Let's see how this template is created. Now, I've said major incident dollar title. So if I just go type the dollar symbol, It's going to give me all my template values, and I can choose the relevant fields that is required. And then I can have a body of this particular ticket notification created just using the dollar sign. The best part is that once you create the template, and once you are going to use this for notification, you can make use of this dollar sign again to choose different organizational roles, different end users, technicians. So you could use the dollar variables. All right, so you could use ad hoc variables to send out to different type of users. So this way, when you use a custom trigger based on different conditions of a ticket, it's going to send out notifications. So we have discussed about notification rules. We have discussed about custom triggers for notification. Now this custom trigger is going to send out notifications to end users as well as to technicians. Now, this being a major incident, all right, I want to do a lot more on the notification part. So I go to quick actions and I have this option called broadcast message. I'm just going to say, folks, systems down, important. And I could say I could send it for all logged in technicians or all technicians, and I can click on send. The message is added successfully. And here is another login, all right? Now this person will also get the broadcast message listed, and here it is. So this is what I've sent a while ago. The broadcast message kicks in and it flashes on the user screen. So these are different mechanisms you could use to alert and communicate to end users, to technicians, and to technician groups. Now, what are the other options we have? Every time when we talk about these kind of features or these kind of notification options to our audience, there's always one thing that they do. They go to their email server or to their email client, all right, whichever email services that they're using, and they communicate to the entire organization about an outage through email. Like why you need to switch systems when there's something else in ServiceDesk Plus. I'm pretty sure you guys would have seen announcement features. I'm pretty sure you might have used it or you would have wondered what it is. Here is what it does. In the announcement, just go right into it and create an announcement on what the content is all about. Choose the dates until which the announcement has to be there on the homepage. If you have no idea and if you wish that it's going to be for a longer time, um, major incident, we don't want to happen that way, but still, you could just go leave the to date as such, so it's going to stay there for a longer time. Enable this option show to requesters, and this outage is company wide, so you don't need to bring in any user groups in. And if you want it to be available only for a specific set of users, we have user group feature in ServiceDesk Plus where you could group end users based on different conditions. So you can go to admin tab and we have user groups over here, and you can group users based on different conditions, based on their site, their department, their email address, job title. Based on these criteria, you could group the users, and that's what I'm going to use over here. And then as you could see at the bottom over here, it says send this announcement as an email. So you don't need to switch to your email client. Use this option, add in group email addresses, CCs, or anything that you want, send it right out. And here is another tip for folks who have Desktop Central integrated with Service Desk Plus. You could just enable this option, and this announcement is going to come as a pop-up on all your users' workstation who all have Desktop Central integrated with Service Desk Plus, and that pop-up is done through the Desktop Central agent. So we have seen system notification, we have seen custom triggers, we have also seen how we could create a broadcast message, we have seen how we could create an announcement for communication. Well, I'm not going to stop right there. There's a lot of tools that you could use from Service Desk for communication. One major thing is business rules. You guys would have definitely used business rules. If not, this is what business rules does. Based on conditions or based on different criteria, you can perform actions on a ticket. All right. So this is the action I did. If my subject is going to be any of this, negate. So negate is a feature in business rule that prevents the ticket from being created. So this is the action. So I'm gonna create an action right now, and I'm gonna show you. So I don't want to tamper this business rule, but I'm just gonna quickly create one. So I click on your business rule. You can even choose to have the rule work outside your operational hours. So when you're not at office, you're at home. If the monitoring tools create an outage alert, or if there are any critical tickets that's being created, you can choose outside operational hours. All right, and you can use that particular time frame for the alerts to happen. So when tickets are being created, and if you choose outside operational hours, the business rules kick in. And as you could see here, you could choose any of the request parameters, and you could perform a couple of these options like set the priority, assign it to a technician group. And in our situation, we can assign it to the operations team, the site reliability engineer, the IRT team. So it's a major incident at Zilker, right? And also you can use the negate function. It's very simple. Just choose this, give a message, and if the condition matches, the system is not going to create a ticket, but it's just going to give them all these options over here. And as you could see over here, you can have email notification and you can have SMS notifications from the system. Now, when you have SMS notifications for outside operational hour business rule, then during your weekends or during your holidays, if something critical comes in, the system is going to help you get notified. So, also, one last thing is that you can have SMS gateways integrated with ServiceDesk Plus. We have our own site 24/7, but on top of that, you could also choose couple of other SMS gateway providers, integrate them with ServiceDesk Plus, and you can get SMS notification. Now, I think I've said a lot about the communication part, and we have seen what are all the different tools that ServiceDesk Plus has for communication. The next is about assessing the ticket. You need to go ahead and assess the ticket to understand how you're going to work on this ticket. So, yes, the monitoring tool starts creating the tickets, that's detection. And once the tickets comes right in, the technicians are working on this ticket to go ahead and figure out how to communicate. Well, there's automated communications in the system, and you can also use features like broadcast message to go ahead and or announcements to go ahead and do manual communication to the entire audience. Now, after you do your communication part, we are going to assess the incident. And there are a lot of things that we have in order to go ahead and assess the tickets. Well, I'm pretty sure there'll be folks like me who not only stop by just creating a ticket one time, but they're going to do this. So if you look at this particular requester, John Reed, that guy has been really bad by creating multiple tickets for the same issue. Well, what do we do in this particular situation? And there are also other users like Elisa, Andrea, and as you could see, there are like other innocent folks who have just reported it once. So in this particular case, person like John needs only one update, but it's just that based on the attention that he needs, he has created multiple tickets for the same issue. And Alyssa and Andrea are like also one among like John, but they've just created one ticket. Now, what are we supposed to do in order to assess the ticket? Now, you don't want a flood of tickets like this to be there because primarily it's going to impact your reporting. If you're going to have duplicate tickets, like a user like John creating multiple tickets for the same incident, that is called duplicate tickets, and you don't want that to be there. So, duplicate tickets will cause reporting issues. So, what you could do is you can just group those tickets of John alone and say you're going to merge them. So you only merge duplicate tickets. And when you merge, all these tickets would be like your child tickets. And you could choose which ticket could to be your parent ticket of these child tickets. All right. So I'm just going to choose one of the ticket and say merge. So this way, all the duplicate tickets are merged and you only have one parent ticket. Now, then what else you do? Next, you go ahead and link the tickets because it is from different users, but it is for the same issue. So what I do, I just go ahead and I go click on this button and click on link request. I would say outage issue and I say link request. Now, what does this do? When I link the request, you get a particular option to understand what are all the link requests and what is the parent link request. All right. So I can just go right into the parent ticket. And as a technician, I can communicate to my folks saying that you guys know what, there is this outage. I'm working with the vendor. It doesn't look like it's an attack. It is something configuration that we have done. We are not sure what it is, and it's an outage. We are experiencing this outage. So I can add a note, and I can add this note to all my linked requests. So this is one benefit of linking the tickets. And not just this, but not just adding a note. If I would have found the resolution for this, lucky me, I can go ahead and add the resolution, and I could share this resolution to all my linked requests. Quite easy, right? And also, I would have spent around like an hour for this, but the ticket would have been there for like 3 hours. I don't want to go wrong in my calculation. So I could just go ahead, say I worked just for an hour, and I can just say add this work log to all my linked requests. So these are all the options that you get when you wanted to address the issue on a very smaller level. You sanitize the duplicate tickets by merging them. You link the tickets by which are from different users, and then you start to assess your tickets. Well, this is not ended right over here. Well, I mean, there's still a lot more to do. So as in Zilker, the technicians tried to work through merge and linking. It didn't get anywhere with that. Now, what else could be the situation? So the time is running out, the clock is ticking. As you could see, there's this SLA, and the site reliability engineering team is also having an OLA to it. So the clock is ticking, and we need to act faster. So, what are the other things that the technicians can do? Well, this is where we are going to see how we can use other features as well to access the ticket. While the tickets are being merged and linked, and the technicians are working on it, we are going to see about a couple of other features that is there on the ticket to access the ticket. SLAs. So SLAs are kind of crucial feature. Now, why do we use SLAs? We use SLAs on the ticket in order to make sure the tickets are completed and resolved in a specific set of time. Now, before I proceed any further, how many of you are in the latest version of ServiceDesk Plus? I'm pretty sure you'll all be wondering where to check that. Go to the question mark, click on About, and this is where you check what's your latest version. Well, there are a lot of features that we have introduced in the latest version, and OLA is one among them. So this is the build 11110, which has all these features. And I would recommend you to upgrade to the latest, whichever it is, because we have a lot of UI changes, we have a lot of features over there. Go ahead and upgrade them. Now, in order for me to, so going back to the assessing part, in order for the technicians at Zilker to work effectively, I need to have my tickets sorted properly. Now, this is where I'm going to use a priority matrix. Right exactly from the time of ticket creation, I'm using my priority matrix to judge what is the type of priority I wanted to set on my ticket. Have you ever given your end users the option to choose priority? Those who have given would know that you would never do that again. Those who don't know what it is, try giving it to them and you will learn it. But the best way to go about doing that is have an impact and urgency in such a way which doesn't read high, low, or medium. We just need to make sure the user fills the right one. So have impact and urgency in such a way like high, low, or impact being that if it's affecting the department or team, the user, the organization, so they know what they are choosing, and urgency as how it's over here, and use these values in the priority matrix, saying that if it's affecting a department or a team and if it's affecting the production, you could choose a particular priority. You can change the priority. So this way, based on the tickets that's being created, the priority is being set. And why are we talking about priority matrix? Because SLAs are going to be determined based on priority matrix. So right from the time the ticket has been created, the SLAs would start kicking right in. So we need to make sure, based on the priority, we can have the SLAs assigned to the ticket. And if you ask me, there are like a lot of these other conditions as well. One such thing is like VIP users. If you have critical users who are reporting incidents or tickets and you wanted to like elevate it, you can use it. And there's a lot of other conditions you could use. Now, there is a time frame within which the ticket has to be responded and resolved. This is all the same SLA stuff. And this is where you use the other features such as escalations and escalation actions. Now, when the tickets are being created, and imagine you are a smaller team and you're like a couple of folks who are working on multiple tickets. When SLA escalation happens, here's the tip you could take over. Notify the ticket owner, which means that whoever is assigned to the ticket. Now, if at all there is no one assigned to the ticket, use the escalation actions to assign it to a group or to a technician. So what happens is that when the escalation happens, you're proactively assigning the ticket to a technician. So this is one way of assigning tickets to technicians. So you could use this to assign tickets to technicians. Sorry, not just notifying them, but you're also assigning tickets to technicians. And then we have operational level agreements. Now, there is a debate like which group spend most of the time with the ticket and which group did not spend time with the ticket. So there would be this one team who had nothing to do with the ticket, but they would have had it throughout the SLA time. And exactly when the ticket is about to be violated, they would move to the other group. And there's a debate on who violated and when. Go ahead, configure operational hours, all right, operational level agreements. And when the SLA is set on the ticket, and when this corresponding group is also assigned, you have the operational level agreements assigned to the ticket. And this can be tracked in the time analysis tab, which clearly explains how long it's been on one group and how long it took for this ticket to move from one group to the other. So if I move it to the knock team, it would get updated right into the ticket. And as you could see over here, it'll be captured in my time analysis tab. So this way, configure your priority matrix right from the time the ticket is created. The SLAs will be assigned to the ticket right from the creation time based on the priority matrix and the SLA that you have configured. And then the OLAs will only be calculated right from the time the ticket is assigned to the group. So SLAs are from the time the ticket is created, OLAs are from the time the ticket is assigned to the specific group. So this is how you can assign the tickets to tickets with SLAs and OLAs. Now, the other important thing is that I gave a hint about assigning the ticket to a technician when the violation happens through SLA actions. What are the other ways I can assign tickets to technicians and what are the sources that I could use? Well, it's quite easy. There is a dropdown that says like technician. I can just go and assign it to Paul or Daniel and be done with that. Do you think it's a wise thing to do when it comes to major incident? Absolutely not. So what we are supposed to do over here in the system, go to the home page, and I'm pretty sure you guys would have seen scheduler. Go to scheduler, and over here you have a list of chart. All right. Now you can go over here and you could see who are all the logged in technicians. There's Paul, there's Santa, they are logged in technicians. So using this, you can go ahead and assign the ticket to the available technician. Now, if I would have assigned it to Daniel, it's a waste of time because that person is not logged in or not currently available. So I'm just going ahead and assigning it to the person who has logged in. Not just that, if someone has marked themselves as leave, so say for instance, I'm just gonna mark myself as leave, and I'm just gonna choose like casual leave, and I'm gonna say a couple of days. Now, if I'm going to have the tickets being assigned to me the day when I've marked myself as leave, it's going to violate the ticket. So this is where, when someone marks themselves as leave, you can configure backup technicians. While you're doing so, you can also move all pending tickets, that is, tickets which are going to have due by dates, where you are marked yourself as leave. You can go ahead and move it to the backup technicians. All right, so this is how you can go ahead and assess the tickets to the right technician when you are going to assign it manually. Now, if you ask me, are these the options? Well, not. There are a lot of automated options as well. Business rule is one, so we have seen that earlier. Based on a condition, I perform negate option. Well, rather than negate, you can also go ahead and assign it to someone else. Also, we have the feature called technician auto assign. This is going to assign tickets to technicians based on the load or based on a random sequence. So you could use technician auto assign. So these are all features that you could use to proactively assign tickets to a technician or to a technician group. Now, we have seen what are the ways to sanitize the ticket. We have seen what are the ways for Zilker to go ahead and set the SLAs and OLAs on the ticket, ways to assign technicians to ticket, and also Zilker needs a guidance. Now, there is a challenge that most of our organizations face. When someone creates a ticket, users would just go and change the status, like, oh, it's open. I want to like cancel the ticket. Let me go ahead and do that. Well, you don't want that to happen in your organization, especially with major incidents. Well, that's where we are going to talk about request life cycles. And for this specific ticket, I've assigned a request life cycle. That is the reason why out of like those thousand statuses that I've created, if I go to admin, I've created like tons of request statuses, but it just shows two status for me. All right. I cannot move the ticket to any other status, like not even closed or resolved, but I just get two. How does this happen? Or how does this work? This is how we do it. We have request lifecycle, and the reason we use request lifecycle is on two reasons. When it is on major incident like this and you want to guide your technicians on what are the next step of activities you wanted to do, you go for request lifecycle. Or if there's a service request like a user onboarding, or if it's an asset ordering form, you want certain approvals to be done. Only after the approval is done, you wanted to move to the next, show the statuses or move further. You can do this particular process. Now, what I've done over here is that I have major incident request lifecycle over here. And as you could see here, it has a wavering path. It's quite simple. All you have to do is add your required statuses under admin status, use the statuses and create a flow like this. So right from the time you create the ticket, what's the next status it needs to go, and what are the transitions you use. Now, the reason we have transitions is for two, like couple of purposes. Now, when you create a request lifecycle, you can say before the transitions works in three different conditions. Like before even I could see my closed status, if I need certain things to be validated, I could do it in before. And while I'm about to close the ticket, if I need to mandate certain fields and do some actions, I can do it. And after I close, or after the request is created, or while I'm assigning it to a technician, I can have notifications being sent out or a couple of options performed. So these are the three transitions you see, three actions you see in a transition of a request lifecycle. And the benefit of that is that when you have like critical tickets being created, all right, and when you need to like send out communications, you can configure communications, you can configure notifications as you have. So we've seen custom notifications through custom triggers. Here's also a way you could communicate. So in my request lifecycle, when I'm moving to triage, that is where like I'm trying to figure out how my ticket is supposed to be handled, or what are the things that I need to perform. During the triage, I could send out custom notifications as well. So these are the things that you could configure on your request lifecycle. So request lifecycle is primarily to guide the technicians on how the ticket has to progress, and you can add ad hoc notifications for each of these transitions. So this way, you can make sure you're having your teams communicated throughout the course of your request from creation to completion. Now, these are all the different features that we have seen in order for me to assess my ticket. Well, all right, I have done enough sanitation. I have done my communication. I've assigned my SLAs. I've assigned my tickets to technicians. OLAs are being assigned. I've guided my ticket technicians through request lifecycle on how they need to move further. I've grouped the tickets by linking them. I've merged duplicate tickets. I've like sanitized everything. So what is next? Now, after a point, when the technicians are not able to figure out the root cause of this ticket, well, what is the feature that we are going to use? So we are going to use the problem manage, because we've figured out that it's not going anywhere with all my linking and merging, and there is no other way that the ticket is progressing any further. Now, this is where we are going to use another source to diversify the ticket. to break it into fragments and analyze it with a bird's eye view. So that is where I'm going to use my problem management. So right from within an incident, I can create a problem. Well, if it's an existing problem, I could search. If it's a new problem, I could just click on new. It's not only going to create my problem, but it's also going to take data from my ticket. And I can go ahead and say, what are the services this particular issue is impacting? What are the assets that is going to be involved in this particular situation? So these are all the things that you can define in the problem ticket. Now, when I create a problem from an incident, this is how it is going to look like. So I'm going to take you to an existing problem. So Zilker created a problem ticket for this particular situation because they've spent enough time trying to figure out what it is. They haven't gone any further with that. So they created a problem ticket. So when you create a problem ticket, the first thing you do is you go ahead and bring in all the similar incidents right into this problem. The important thing is that these are the tickets that's going to have lot of information in them, and that is going to help you to break down your problem. You can analyze, you can define what are the impact, what could be the root cause, the sequence of issue when it happened, the symptoms you can add over here. Now when you keep breaking your problem into like different segments as such, you can arrive at a resolution or as a workaround, which is a solution or a workaround. Now, when you are arriving at a solution, you can not only add it right to the problem, you can also publish it in the self-service portal. Now, when you publish it in the self-service portal, the end users get the benefit on knowing what they need to do when they are going to report a similar incident later on. So this is the benefit on the problem analysis tab. So not only you get to add a workaround or a solution, but you can add it to your knowledge base as well. Well, with the data of incidents that I've gathered, with the analysis I've done, I've arrived at a workaround or a solution. Now, if I need more hands or if I need to like further diversify this, I can go ahead and add tasks to my problem. To add tasks, it's quite easy. I can use task templates, just like incident templates, we have task templates, or I could go ahead and create a new task. While defining a task, I can choose who's going to be the technician, which group this task should be in. While I'm defining all of that, here is an important feature you need to know. Now, this task is common for incident, problem, change, projects, service requests. So here is a free tip for you. When you're defining a task and when you have no idea when the tasks are supposed to be assigned to technicians, go ahead, assign it to a technician, all right, and the task to Mark. And I'm going to say check firewall. So this is the task I've created. I've assigned it to Daniel, and I'm clicking on save. I have no idea when Daniel is supposed to look into this task. So create all your tasks with Mark. So when you set it as Mark, you get this little blob in the front, and then go ahead and do your task dependencies. So when this particular problem is going to be analyzed, I wanted to check for updates that's been deployed. So that's going to be first. Then my next task after checking this is going to be my compare the conflicts between the previous update and the current update. And while I'm checking that, I want someone to check my firewall parallelly. So this is how I'm going to define task dependencies. It's quite easy, right? So once I do it this way, what happens is that even though these two tasks have technicians assigned, so check for firewall, Daniel is there, and for the other one, Tanner is there, but these guys are not going to see the tasks because it's set as marked. Only when Santa completes the first task, these two tasks would be triggered based on the completion of the previous task. So this is why configure all your tasks as marked and configure dependencies when there are a sequence of operation that needs to be done. So dependencies and mark gives a neat guidelines for your technician. It tells them which is the first task, and completion of the first task is where the task is going to be assigned to the next technician and they can work on it. So in my problem analysis, I have broken my problems into impact, root cause, symptoms, and with all the information I've gathered, I come across a workaround or a solution, which I can add it into my knowledge base. And to make the things work, I can add tasks and task dependencies. We have seen how mark and assign works, how to trigger dependent tasks, and then we have associated all these incidents into my problem ticket. Now, let's go to our framework. So we have to communicate externally when I'm working on a major incident. And the important thing is that we've already communicated to our audience in the first place, like saying that, hey, you know what, there's an outage, just hold your peace, we'll get back to you. And we have communicated to the technicians, like, folks, we need more help. Please come in through all the communication channels. Now, this is the place where I figured out the solution. All right. Now, what am I supposed to do? Again, there are like bunch of these notification tools that you could use even in the problem management. You can send out notifications to everyone. You can notify the incident technicians, the tickets that have been assigned into this problem, or you can also notify the incident requesters. You can even make an announcement right from the problem. And the best part is that it takes data from the problem and it displays right there. So these are all the tools that you could use right from within a problem. And now that we are arriving at the final phase, which is resolving the ticket, all right, we are going to see what are the tools that's going to help us big time. Now, what did we do? We linked the tickets, it didn't help us. We created a problem ticket and we brought all the relevant incident tickets right into my problem ticket. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm just going to go ahead and close this particular problem ticket. All right, because I found the solution, everything is perfect. I'm just going to close the problem ticket. While I'm doing that, here is problem closure rules for us, helping us with more options. So this is lovely. I can go ahead and close all my associated incidents, right? So does it not save my work? Now imagine you have hundreds of tickets pouring in because you just slacked 5 minutes in communicating to the users. They use that opportunity to send a volley of tickets. Now associate all those hundreds of tickets right into the problem. Do your analysis, do your communication right from the problem using all the tools we have seen. Close the problem ticket. Make sure you configure your problem closure rules. So I go to the admin tab, and right here we have problem closure rules. So over here, I can not only like I can have these options pop up, I can also fill in a couple of these fields because we are humans. We tend to forget to update a particular field or fill the resolution of an incident. So these are problem closure rules. I'm also going to show you request closure rules in a while. So go ahead, choose these options, select the operational rules. Once you're closing the problem, you have these rules coming in. You can close all the associated incidents. You can email the affected requesters, the technicians working on it, and copy the problem solution or workaround to all your associated incidents. So this is going to help you big time. Now, this is how I close a problem and all the related information goes right into my tickets. All right, finally, once my problem is closed and my tickets are also being closed. Now, your tickets may not get closed at times when you have configured incident closure rules or request closing rules. So I go to the admin tab and I have request closing rules. So we also have request closing rules, and there is like a series of options. So you can choose the fields that needs to be filled in at the closure. You can also set the request to resolve status instead of closing the ticket. And when you set it to resolve status, the technicians are not closing it, but they're resolving it. The end users gets to resolve the ticket. All right, they get to evaluate the ticket and close it. And if they're not responding within the set number of days, the system auto closes it. What if you have tasks? All right, we also have closures where once you close all the tasks of a ticket, the ticket automatically is set to resolved or closed status. So these are all the operational tools that you could use in order to assess your ticket, and not only assess but also communicate to the external world while you're assessing the ticket. And we have seen how we could resolve the ticket through a problem ticket and how it communicates further. Now, of course, yes, we have resolved the ticket and everything is good. But when you're resolving a major incident like this, keep in mind to sharpen your knowledge base. So go ahead to the Solutions tab and make sure you add knowledge base. Well, of course, there's like tons of knowledge base articles we have. Couple of important things to make a note. While you're adding knowledge base articles, it's very simple and easy given the details. And we have features such as like you can add keywords when you wanted to search, choose the owner for this knowledge base, and set the review dates. So what happens is that certain knowledge base articles need to be reviewed once in a while. Certain things are like permanent throughout. So you could choose the review dates, you could set the expiry dates. Again, we saw this feature in the announcement and in the template. If you want this to be available for the end users, choose this option. And if you want this end users to like search, view the knowledge base, make sure the knowledge base is approved. Published in the portal, approve the knowledge base, only those will be listed for the end users. If you don't publish it to the end users, then the knowledge base will not be available for them. So this would be only available for the technicians. So you have an effective knowledge base. So this would give you ideas on how you handle this kind of an incident before. And if at all something like this comes in the future, you can use the data that you have stored in the knowledge base to like revise your process and make sure your incident handling process goes much more smoother. Now, we have discussed a whole lot of these features, and we have understood with the framework that we use at Zoho how we could how we have aligned features, how using this process we handle at Zoho. Now, if Zilker would have had this process, it would have been a lot more different, and that's what we are going to see. Now, if at all Zilker would have used this particular framework that we just discussed, see what happens. Right when the incident is being created at 1342, not just the monitoring tools, but all other alerting systems are communicating the information right at the start, which saves around 10 minutes of time. And not just that, as you can see, using the communication tools and using all the assessing tools, the technician starts working on them, and it makes sure that they are fixing that issue in within 28 minutes of time, saving across 50 minutes. What Zilker had to fix at 78 minutes, using this particular framework, they would have been able to fix it in 28 minutes. So this is the learning that we have. And of course, the system has tons of reporting that you could make use of. All right, we have reports out of box. We have predefined reports. Go ahead, build as much as reports you want. We have reports for operational level agreements. And the best part is that if you have if you have reports based on graphs or reports based on matrix charts, you can go ahead and add them to your dashboard. So you could customize this dashboard as however you want. You can add more graphs. So as you could see here, here are customized reports that we have already added. So this is how you could make use of reports and dashboard. So here is a small recap. So what we have done is we have seen how we could handle major incident in ServiceDesk Plus, and we have understood the terminology of what a major incident is. We have also seen how to bring in the right set of features to bring everything together. And here is a feature recap as well. So we have seen the identification and detection part, how users can communicate through self-service portal, the notification channels, the SLAs, business rules. We have also seen how we could link and merge tickets. Of course, when you associate asset or services to a problem, it would also help you in getting the CMDB data. We saw announcements, tasks, knowledge base. So these are all the features that we have discussed. And here are a couple of reference notes that you could make a use of. I'm just going to pause here for a while. And also, you can email to us at hello@servicedeskplus.com. The email address over here for any queries. Make sure you download the handout that's there on the left-hand side panel. That's going to have a feature parity on what we have discussed. And here is something that you could use. So we have a team of experts who are ready to give you a 45 minutes one-on-one personalized demo just for your organization. So go ahead, send these guys an email, and it's free of cost, 45 minutes, specific to your industry. They're going to share how you could do it, the best practices, and so on. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for your participation. Please email us at hello@servicedeskplus.com for any queries. We can also help you with a free demo with our product experts as well. And thanks for registering to this particular masterclass series. And there is a lot more of these sessions lined up for you guys. We will get in touch with you with the recording. We'll get in touch with you with the updated session dates for the new sessions. Stay home, stay safe, and we'll get through this. Have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.